Boston Celtics win a championship this year if
Jaylen Brown could be consistent, right? You know, I don't want to hear throughout these playoffs it's been Jaylen Brown and how he's going to bounce back, right? What kind of follow-up game he's going to have. I think it needs to be Jaylen Brown for us, him being consistent, that number 2 option to Jason Tatum, because he can't have an up and down series, especially against Golden State, because that could cost you a game. When you look at the way the Celtics are currently constructed, you have Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown is really their two-headed monster, and then you have a role player that step up every now and then, but Jaylen Brown has to be consistent.
Janae?
Well, one of the best things you've ever said, the best thing you actually have ever said, the one thing, Perk, is being a star in your role, okay, Perk? And that's what you embodied when you played yourself too, Richard. But I think the Boston Celtics, in order to win, their role players need to be stars. And we saw that, you know, in the Eastern Conference Finals, where you can have a Marcus Smart, and correct me, you know, Perk, he goes for 24. 24, and this is a guy that's Defensive Player of the Year. Those bonuses are what you're going to win games off of. You have an Al Horford who takes things personal versus the Bucks and goes for 30. You need those types of performances from role players being stars in their roles for them to really shift the tides, especially playing on the road versus Golden State.
The Celtics win the NBA Finals if Grant Williams plays like he did in that Milwaukee series. To me, defensively, what he was able to do, and he allows them, because you can play Kevon Looney and you can play Grant Williams at the 5. So you can go with the small. You don't need Robert Williams, Al Horford. The Golden State Warriors over this entire run have been notorious for making you have to play small. So you have to have guys on your roster that know how to play that small ball 5, that small ball 4, and that's what he did. He was playing the small. He was guarding Giannis. He was knocking down threes. If he can do that, then they can match up all 5 across the board.
And I thought it was really interesting that Grant Williams said a couple years ago he was watching when he was in college with the Warriors, and he was like, I'm a Draymond Green guy.
Yeah,
and that makes sense.
Like, yeah.
And it's really interesting because now you see the Celtics, and they have their own version of a small, growing, you know, Draymond Green and Grant Williams.
Yeah.
Well, Janae, you do rep the Bay, Stanford stand-up. So same question, but
Go
different
Cal.
team.
Oh, wow.
The Warriors, they win a title if.
The Warriors will win a title if, let's see, if one of their big stars gets hot. And I think it's crazy because you have Clay and you have Steph, and we all know what they're capable of. But they can really turn the tides. These are two very good second-half teams. The Warriors, you know, we usually said third quarter is where they do their damage. They've been doing it in the fourth quarter throughout the playoffs. If Clay gets hot, going from the third to the fourth, Steph gets hot, this is the Chase Center. They're really trying to baptize this with the championship, this building. If they get hot, one of their stars, they're almost impossible to guard.
Well, we talk about experience when we talk about the Warriors, right? But the only, 4 players that are actually playing that got experience is Draymond, Clay, Steph, and Looney. I mean, I don't want to count out Andre Iguodala, but he hasn't been playing. So I look at the others for the Golden State Warriors, the guys that hasn't been here but has been playing well in this postseason, and I look at Jordan Poole and I look at Andrew Wiggins. And when those two guys play good together on the same night, the Warriors blow teams out. So I'm looking at those two to be the X factor, the combination of both of those two guys playing well. Andrew Wiggins, not necessarily having to go out there and put up 20 a night, but go out there and having to, you know, make Jason Tatum struggle from the field. And I'm looking at Jordan Poole to pick up that slack when you know, Klay Thompson or Steph Curry don't have it going. He has been that X factor all offensively all postseason, and I expect those two, the combination of those two, if the Warriors want to win, to be dangerous.
You good?
Well, yeah, no, I was looking at the screen up here, you know, making sure, you know, nobody can get anything up here. But what the thing that I was the point that I was going to make is the Warriors are going to win the NBA Finals if they play the type of basketball that's not home run basketball, except when they need home run. Like the Warriors, it's like they feed off the crowd, they feed off the energy, they feed off momentum, but all of a sudden they'll start playing too fast. You look at that Memphis series when they were turning the ball over obsessively, and you're like, guys, all you have to do is play consistent basketball, and you shoot the ball so well. But that's one of the things with the turnovers and the way they play. If they shoot the three well and keep their turnovers, let's just say average for themselves, which would be an accomplishment against the Boston Celtic defense, then I think the Warriors win.
But that's who the Warriors are. They play home run basketball.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is that sometimes that can hurt them. In that Memphis series, when they were turning the ball over so much,
It piles on quick.
They don't need
They
to.
won.
They
They
don't
won the
need to.
series.
Yes, they did, and they have lost series where they turned the ball over and didn't do
Not
things
this
well.
season.
Not this. Okay.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying that's who they are. Like
Yeah, but with a more
Steph
veteran
Curry,
and a more
that's
talented
who
team.
the Warriors are. Steph Curry
doesn't
make big time shots. He's turning around
That's
as
very
the ball.
true.
They play home run basketball.
That
That's
is
their
true,
identity.
but when they're turning the ball over 11 times a game instead of 18 times a game, there's
or
a
14
happy
times
medium
instead
there.
of 22.
Correct.
That's what I'm saying.
Then it seems to be a little bit more controllable
They here
for
in the
Golden
finals.
State.
But
are.
that's not just good enough. They're playing against a team that they've never
Well,
played
and
against
that's sort of what
this
they've been
quality
discussing.
before. And on top of the last thing I'll say, of all the what 7 Warrior teams that have been here in the finals, this is probably the least experienced. This is probably the team that I would say if I had to rank all 6 or 7 of the Warrior teams, this would be 6. This would be the
agree.
6th best team that the Warriors have shown up with. So they can't just go out there with the same type of, we can turn it over because we have Kevin Durant and Steph and Clay are in their prime and Clay's 100% healthy. That's not this
I just
roster.
want you to clear it up. Then.
I think
Touche,
clear it up.
Richard, touche.
whatever.
Yeah, no,
Thank
I
you.
see where I'm picking up what you're throwing down.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus.